YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. I tried to play my own battle, couldn't find one, and then the only opponent I found lagged out, so...
Shameful display!
Yes, indeed, it was a shameful display. Thank you, Shogun 2 Advisor. So we're going to watch this replay. I think it should be good. We got a Greenskin player here who's rocking Wurzag, 2 big bosses, Boar Boy Biggin, 2 Black Orcs, 5 Savage Orcs, 3 in the front, 1 on each flank, and Warlords Boys, Fanatics, or Night Goblin Fanatics, I believe. We got 1 Wolf Rider Archer, Morgrub's Mangy Marauders, and then 2 Nassy Skulkers out on the flank. And then we've got Boris Todbringer here leading up the Empire forces, which consist of 5 Flagellant units, 3 handguns, 2 spears, a light wizard, and of all things, 4 Reiksguard. Interesting pick. So Reiksguard, very heavily armored anti-infantry cavalry. You can see the light wizard's going to use a net here and pin down the mangy marauders. Not a bad choice, because these guys are well and truly dead at this point. Looks like Boris is going to swing back towards that fight, probably not wanting to get too close to Wurzag because of the effigy to get. So here, let's see if they use their smoke bomb. They do use the smoke bomb, and it's going to impact both units of Reiksguard. That takes away 75% of their speed temporarily, but... Or actually, only got 1 unit of the Reiksguard, my bad. It was a good idea to smoke bomb the Reiksguard so that they lose a bunch of their charge, but it's just not overall working out, and then Boris landed and the terror hits, so this flank is in trouble for the Greenskins. Flagellants are going to do poorly against Savage Orcs, but if they overlap if the Savage Orcs overlap the Flagellants, the handgunners should be able to shoot them and even out that fight pretty quickly. Another smoke bomb used over here. If it slows down these units, which it only got Boris, actually. The Skulkers do armor-piercing damage, but they're not going to be very good versus cavalry. Holy foot of Gork. Wow. Yowzas, that was a foot. 58 cavalry kills, and look at this effigy to get on the other Reiksguard to hold it in place. So the Greenskins going for the throat here, trying to take out the Empire cavalry. And although it was a very effective foot, it didn't actually wipe those units off the map. And then here with the nets, Wurzag is in big danger, but for some reason Boris not attacking Wurzag. He dives into the Boar Biggins, maybe trying to cause a terror out, which he does. It is an odd choice not to go straight after Wurzag, because if you kill Wurzag, you usually kill Wurzag's army. Yeah, look right here, see where these guys hung around the flank, and they're getting picked apart by the handgunners. That's exactly what I was saying. So the Greenskin player should have gotten into a blockier formation than the Flagellants to try and avoid that. But, nonetheless, we got a good game going. We got Scroll of Leeching, so greatly reduced power recharge rate that's been used. I would have to assume that he was trying to use it to help calm down the Light Wizard, but I think it's just an area of effect around Wurzag. And Wurzag gets tied up in a net in a fight right here by Boris. This is not good for Wurzag. Effigy to get has already been used. So yeah, not good at all. Wurzag is going to die very quickly here, so... see what happens. See, he's trying to get away. Wurzag is shattered. So that's the end of that. Ooh, that's going to be rough for the Greenskins trying to survive the battle without Wurzag. Fortunately, there's a Gobbo Big Boss left there. 2 of them. Those are the only... now look at this. A regrouped Boar Biggin combined with some Skulkers actually going to take down a couple of Reiksguard units over here. The other Reiksguard units have been trying to do some work on the opposite flank. They get intercepted by Black Orcs. And then we got some Savage Orcs pushing the handguns, as well as some Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. Savage Orcs are immune to psychology if their leadership is high, but their leadership probably won't stay high if attacked by Boris. So it's going to be a close battle, I think, despite having lost Wurzag, who very cowardly running from the battlefield right now. Hang on, wait, Wurzag's running from the battlefield and he's an orc?
Shameful display!
That's right, it's a shameful display. Come on, Warzak, what would Grimgore do? Where's your what would Grimgore do bracelet? So, Gabo Big Boss tied down over here with some spearmen and stuff. Not ideal. Savage Orcs actually get routed, as expected, by the Reiksguard. These guns are really going to do some damage, especially against these Black Orcs over here. There are some regrouped Savage Orcs, and the Gabo Big Boss and Boars are trying to get, yep, so they're going to get rid of that Reiksguard unit. Boris lands and easily dispatches a Gabo Big Boss. They are pretty squishy up against something like Boris. They kind of need a group of heroes to be effective. So Greenskin units might have some problems with leaderships. Right now, though, this Black Orc's holding pretty strong, taking some rear charges, though. Savage Orcs are going to lose their immune to psychology if they drop below 50%, and this one's already there. Yep, now they're all going to be vulnerable to psychology. Whew. Yeah, Boris. Those Empire flyers, man, they can be hard to deal with sometime if you're a Greenskin player, and it's looking pretty bad for the Greenskins at this point. I don't know if there's any way that he can pull this off. These handguns are just absolutely laying waste to the Greenskin force, and I don't see how this gets turned around. Some of these units are going to regroup out here, plus you have Boris Todbringer, and then the net of Amantok used over here to stop the Greenskin player once again, so the Empire player is doing everything that they need to do at this point in order to shut down the Greenskins, so what little hope was left for the Greenskins is going to be snuffed out by Boris. You ever found out that it's kind of weird if you get Boris in campaign, he can't get on a Griffin? What's up with that? Doesn't make any sense. Come on, CA, fix that. Anyway, it's going to be a valiant defeat for the Greenskins. So, what? People never submit losses to air? Well, apparently this one was. So, hope you all enjoyed that one. It was a fun battle. Interesting battle because I would say that personally I feel like the Greenskins kind of in many ways have an edge on the Empire. And here you saw that despite getting a really good foot of Gork, the Empire still managed to get quite a bit of work done with these Reiksguard. And if you think about this army here, it was just like, hey, I just don't want my infantry part to, infantry line to insta-route so that my handgunners and flyer and cavalry can do some work. And it's a decent idea against the Greenskins. Savage Orcs are a pretty common pick these days against the Empire, and Savage Orcs would do terribly against armored cavalry like Reiksguard. So interesting to kind of see how that one played out. What do you all think? Did you enjoy it? Sure hope so. Hey, appreciate MSI sponsoring my channel. Appreciate you all being here every night. Hey, you know what? I was about to sign out, but, you know, we got time for one more. We got time for one more. Let's do this Chaos versus Bretonia, maybe? Man breed? Yeah, we got time for one more. I was trying to rush you all out the door. That would have been a short video. So Chaos has Sigvald. Interesting. Aspiring champions, warriors with great weapons. Warriors with great weapons are kind of an odd pick versus Bretonia. There's two Shaggoths to support. I guess maybe they were expecting Foot Squires, which kind of makes sense. And there's Foot Squires. Never mind. Warriors with great weapons, pretty solid choice. Knights of the Realm, so 3 Knights of the Realm, and then a just Bretonian Lord on Hippogriff. Peasant bows with fire arrows. I'm not sure what fire arrows are really going to do. They're only good against stuff that has regen, which I guess Sigvald does, but I'm also guessing Sigvald is pretty resistant to peasant missiles. One Warhound with poison hidden there and another one there, so could be handy if they wait for the right moment. 3 Knights of the Realm are going to be a little bit problematic for Chaos here, I believe. There is a Death Sorcerer with Spirit Leech, and I believe the other one is Fate of Buna. Yep, so Fate of Buna is actually a great pick. It can get rid of these Knights of the Realm and allow the Dragon Ogre Shaggoths to win that fight. The Chaos Lord isn't going to have an easy time killing Sigvald, because Sigvald's going to get knocked around all over the place. So, no wizard? Yeah, no wizard. Yeah, there is a wizard. Never mind a celestial wizard, or a damsel with Lore of Heavens. And she's got, hopefully, Curse of the Midnight Wind. She does. Wind Blast is kind of useless, and Uranan's Thunderbolt is not terrible. I would have liked to have seen Curse of the Midnight Wind and maybe Harmonic Convergence. Those two could be, I think, rather useful. But yeah, Spirit Leech there on the Bretonian Lord. He has a potion, though. I almost think that Spirit Leech would have been better off to have just been not used and get plenty of Fate of Buna work done and use the Spirit Leech and stuff only as a last resort. Because I don't think the Bretonian Lord here is as big a threat. So here comes the armies of Chaos through the woods. Got the 3 aspiring champions. With their support, the Chaos Warriors should do some pretty good fighting. It looks like they're going to try and put the 1 aspiring champion into the peasants here. That'll be pretty entertaining. So the peasant meat shield's going to get hit, and it looks like the rest of the Chaos troops are going to try and work their way around the peasant meat shield, which is pretty smart. Kind of ignoring one of the units here, though. So let's watch the Chaos charges. Knights of the Realm over here engaging the Dragon Ogre Shaggoths. The Death Sorcerer would have been very, very useful over here because this is going to be a pretty tough fight for the Dragon Ogres. They're going to get singled out by 3 units of cavalry plus a Chaos Lord. One of them is already taking immense damage, though one of the Knights of the Realm does rout. I just don't think the Dragon Ogres can tank that much damage. The Bretonian front line, though, is probably going to get shellacked pretty convincingly. Yeah, Curse of the Midnight Wind has been used here in the middle, so that's definitely going to hurt these Chaos forces in the middle. The Death Sorcerer has a spell. It looks like he's probably trying to use Fate of Buna or Spirit Leech, but he's stuck and hasn't gotten over there yet. He's on foot. Sigvald is in trying to take care of the damsel, who's actually knocking him over on her horse. There's the Fate of Buna. Way too late, though. So the Dragon Ogre should have stayed closer to the Death Sorcerer, and then that Fate of Buna could have been decisive at swinging that fight the other way. Because you see how effective it is there. The Warhounds did get into the bows, so pretty good play there by the Chaos player, and the Bretonian left flank has pretty much died. And we're going to get a pretty good fight here. Foot Squires duking it out versus Warriors with great weapons. Just kind of see what's going on. Oh, one of these is Grail Knights. I saw Knights of the Realm. Must have been 2 Knights of the Realm and a Grail Knight. My bad. Yeah, 2 Knights of the Realm and a Grail Knight. Sigvald got in there and really destroyed the Grail Relic, which is no surprise. Sigvald's a duelist. He's going to do well when he's fighting character-on-character type fights. So the Grail Relic is down. Uranan's Thunderbolt being used there on some of the Chaos Warriors, and then the Death Sorcerer is getting attacked, but he's going to pop a Spirit Leech. The Damsel and the Bretonian Lord teaming up here, and the Death Sorcerer is going to flee. Sigvald trying to come put an end to it, but he is going to be a little bit too slow to stop that, and the Damsel puts a major hit on that Death Sorcerer. These Warhounds have really paid dividends here at getting rid of these archers. So really nice play there with the Warhounds. Nicely done. And there's some more of them that came back over here. So that got rid of most of the Bretonian archers. Yeah, you can see the Death Sorcerer not in good shape here.
Flood these lands!
Looks like the Knights are going to attack these aspiring champions and Sigvald. Let's see. So yeah, the Chaos Warhounds, 89 kills. They're going to go get another archer unit here, and they could chase down those spearmen potentially too. Over here, there's a few warriors with great weapons, but they're going to get hit by the Hippogriff, which shouldn't have too much trouble dispatching them. The aspiring champions, though, are really helping to keep the Chaos Warriors in the fight a little longer, and this Shaggoth came back. Only 500 some odd hit points, but it's enough to come in and cause some pretty substantial anti-large damage, I would think. And there goes the cavalry. The Warhounds that were routing now being brought back, so now really just the Bretonian Lord. And he could try to cycle charge Sigvald to death. Now the Poison Warhounds here, gonna slow him down, but there's really not any other units that can follow this up. So it looks like these units are gonna turn around and face the incoming Knights of the Realm, who regrouped rather quickly. No, the Warhound's still chasing. Bretonian Lord stuck on the ground, but there's really nothing serious to punish the Bretonian Lord for being on the ground. Oh, look at this. The Damsel gave up the chase, and the Death Sorcerer immediately came back. That's got to be annoying for Bretonia. But the damsel trying to make her way back to the battlefield, she could be quite useful. If Sigvald's going to be taken down, it's going to actually be kind of a pain because he heals pretty quickly. And like I said, he gets knocked around and it kind of keeps the Bretonian Lord from imparting all of his damage. And he's used his potion at this point because I remember him being lower hit points than that earlier. So Bretonia is coming down to a fairly limited number of units. These Warhounds really need to get away from here and not let the damsel... I was thinking they ought to run away from the damsel and just keep chasing routing units and keep them from coming back. That's one of my favorite uses for the Warhounds. They're quick and they can get rid of routing units or really squishy units. Peasant Bow is going to get taken out there. The damsel actually gets routed, but the Warhounds also break. Or she's about to get routed, I say that. The Bretonian Lord just kind of settled into combat over here. And he did decent damage, but he took a ton of damage. His charge is really where he's going to do the most damage. So sitting in combat like that, the Chaos Warriors with great weapons definitely digging through his armor. And I believe that's a Spirit Leech from that Sorcerer that came back. It sure is. An extended range cast. So that's going to be it, folks. Bretonia's going to succumb. An interesting Bretonian pick. Not one that I would have recommended. It's kind of weird to just go with the Lord. I like the pick of the Lore of Heaven's damsel, though. I mean, Lore of Heaven's really isn't bad. Some people think it's really, really awful. It's not spectacular. A lot of people would rather pick Lore of Life or something like it, but it's got its uses. So, like, if you go in here and just take a look real quick, the Bretonians... Let's do a Lore of Heavens right here. So, I mean, if we look at the spells, Harmonic Convergence, let's get rid of some of these here. Curse of the Midnight Wind is a massive debuff to enemy units, and it's very good. And then Harmonic Convergence buffs up one of your units significantly. So, if you bring in the Curse of the Midnight Wind and get like a whole infantry line reeling from it, and then take Harmonic Convergence for only 5 magic, or 6 magic, and cast it on one of your units, it can do a lot of work. I'm trying to remember if Harmonic Convergence has an overcast. It does. It's just an additional effect on armor. Yeah, so probably not worth it when you upgrade it, but if it was like an area of effect, then the Lore of Heavens would be absurd because of how bad you could debuff. But yeah, Harmonic Convergence could certainly help a unit, and then the debuff from Curse of the Midnight Wind is pretty significant. On the extended duration, it lasts a full 50 seconds. It costs 17 magic, though, but still 50 seconds of units having 30 less armor and 34 less melee attack. That's a pretty big deal. So, hope y'all enjoyed these battles. Appreciate MSI sponsoring the channel. Appreciate you being here. If you want to subscribe, click the link or the logo in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to sign off for now. HeirofCarthage, till next time.